Hey guys, welcome back into Legacy. Today I just want to hit a video and I'm going to do a kind of quick video because I'm doing the interview this afternoon with Mr. Schaub. But I just want to talk a little bit about IP-based RPGs and the idea that they are starting to get a little bit of a bad rap in certain circles. And I wanted to address the idea that not all IP-based RPGs are bad. There certainly are IP-based RPGs that are not great. Um, but I do think that there's a majority of the ones I've played I've enjoyed, and I think they've gotten better at capturing the feel of the games themselves and the IPs themselves. And I'm going to kind of quote some examples of that and allow you guys to kind of understand how I feel about IP based RPG. Um, so IP-based RPG is anything that is an established IP, of course, such as Alien, Lord of the Rings, The Witcher, Song of Ice and Fire, you know, basically, if you can think of an IP, that's been made into an RPG, those games get a kind of bad rap because some of those games do have mechanics that are a little weird, don't always seem to fit right, can be very heavy-handed, I guess is the term I would use. They're not the greatest games all the time, but overall, an IP-based RPG for me has been very healthy and very good. Um, For example, the stress mechanic in Alien is wonderful. The stress mechanic in that game is actually awesome. You know, if you've never played Tor, The One Ring, really play it. You'll get one of the best Tolkien experiences you'll ever get in your life if you play The One Ring. The Witcher is absolutely wonderfully well made. Of course, it's made by Mike Pondsmith and his son, and Mike Pondsmith is just a genius at game design. Um, so the idea being that people have gotten in their heads that IP based games are bad because they're IP based, and IPs feel kind of constrictive and all that, but they don't have to be constrictive. One of my favorite games, in fact, probably my favorite game in the market right now is Song of Ice and Fire. Absolutely adore that game. I've run it several times. I really, really enjoy it. My players enjoy it, and it captures the feel of Westeros, Easteros very well. It does what it's supposed to do. Um, and the mechanics and stuff are very well crafted. They're very well thought out. The one big bug in that game, I think, would be the mass combat rules. I'm not a huge fan of the mass combat rules in that game, but when they are what they are. Um, I think mass combat rules in general are kind of hard to write, though, so I give that some leeway. Uh, but the idea that because it's an IP automatically makes it bad, and yes, I've seen that. Well, IP, you could do an IP based game in any system. Yeah, you technically can. I could run Lord of the Rings using D&D. I could run Alien using Hostile. You know, I could run The Witcher using, pretty much any system as long as I wanted to do the work. But those games where the systems are pre-written, the subsystems are pre-written, and everything makes it better. The Witcher is just a good game, not because it's the best game in the world, but because it does what it's supposed to do. The subsystems work, the combat system works, the mutagen system works, the magic system functions the way magic should function in The Witcher, and you're not having to rewrite the entire script from the ground up to make it work. So the idea that IP-based games can be bad is just a misnomer. It's a misnomer in so many ways. And I'm not saying that to say that you have to like IP-based games. I'm just saying don't be so quick to dismiss them. Uh, Read them, look into them, watch live plays, whatever, to see how they actually play. Because you might be surprised at how much good can come out of them. And even if the game themselves are overall not the best game, they can generate quite a bit of good ideas to port into other systems that will allow you to run a game that is similar to that in another system. Like I said, like the stress mechanic from Alien. Say you hate the rest of Year Zero, but you like that stress mechanic. Well, port that stress mechanic into Hostile. Um, something like that. I think Hostile has a stress mechanic, but port the idea of how that stress mechanic works. You can do that. It's totally doable, and nobody has to. You don't have to dislike IP games because they have something attached to them. And the reverse, like I said, there are IP based games that have come out in the past that are bad. Leading edge games, Alien was terrible. I mean, there was plenty of stuff in the 80s. The Indiana Jones adventure game was god awful. In fact, the Diana Jones Award is named after it. There's a whole story behind the Diana Jones Award. The Diana Jones Award is named after the Indiana Jones game. Uh, it's just a bad game. A lot of games over the years have been made that were just not good, but there are a lot of IP-based games that are really good. Star Wars D6. I'm a big fan of the Edge of the Empire system, the Genesis system. Um, I love IP-based games that feel like the worlds are supposed to be in, and that's kind of how I feel about it. Um, Long story short, guys, the basic gist of this video is don't be prepared to write off things simply because you've had a bad experience with one IP game. IP games, I think, are actually getting better. I think that if you put the right people in command of the game, you get a better game. I really do. Dragon Age, for example, the Age system, which was developed originally for Dragon Age and would spawn out into. I think they're kind of simultaneous creations, but they kind of spawned out Fantasy Age First Edition and Modern Age and all that from Dragon Age originally. I'd have to look at the exact timeline to be sure, but I think they kind of spun off of each other almost simultaneously. But that system is wonderful for Dragon Age. The idea of you have minimal classes to start and then specializations improve your classes and all that. It's a great game, and it really my players love it. They absolutely adore it. They want to play it again. People want to play it again. I will be happy to run it again when I get off my I can't handle fantasy kick. Right now I'm having a hard time with fantasy kick. That's why I'm running Deadlands and I'm running Alternity because I burned out on fantasy for a little while. Um, but yeah, guys, just give them a chance. Give every game a chance. Give everything a chance. Like I said, you don't even have to play it. Read it, watch live plays, whatever. See if it's something that might interest you and might scratch the itch for that. If you're looking for a game that mimics, Alien or mimics, One Ring or mimics Tolkien or whatever, there are already games out there that do that and they do it very well. And when you write them off quickly by saying, well, they're IP based, yeah, doesn't mean they're bad. Like I said, there are definitely terrible games out there that have been IP based. There have been wonderful games that are IP based. And the best thing I can tell you is look into them. And if you don't like the game itself, see if there's anything about the game you do like that you can use to port over to your own home game that will help your own home game feel more like that IP. Uh, and you will be a lot happier if you do that. As always, guys, welcome thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. As always, follow the 3 rules: no ad hominems, no picking fights, and absolutely no leaving me college dissertations. Other than that, guys, I am happy to hear your thoughts. And as always, we hope you have fun, and we do hope to see you guys around the game table at some point.